I want you to understand my thought process while I backtest a random pair and a random time to do it. Welcome back everyone to your Smart Money Source. So let's get into it. I did an Excel sheet with the 28 major pairs, as you can see here, all these 28 pairs, and I'm going to use the random number from Google in order to select one of these pairs, 1 to 28. You can see whenever I click generate, it will drop a random number. So let's do a random number 24. So let's go and see 24 is GBP NCD. So let's go to that pair. The way I do it to pick a random time, I go to 1 minute chart on the pair I'm looking at it right now, and I scroll down all this so I cannot see what's the price action doing here. Then I go to the pair GBP NCD. Well, in this case that didn't work, so I will scroll down again. The only thing I can see is I managed to see was the current day and the previous day. That's okay. Let's go to a 5 minute chart and let's go to left randomly and pick a random label, for example this day here. So what date is this? This is January the 4th. So practically 1 month ago. So let's go to the daily chart. Let's actually start with the monthly chart and see how we can trade this pair. So the idea is for you to understand how I apply most of the concepts that I taught in the previous videos in order to backtest. There are many ways to backtest. The way I like to do it is by TPing only, basically choosing only one TP, so you either get stopped or you hit TP. If you want to do intelligent risk management or trade management, of course you can move your stop loss to specific structure points. But in this case, to make it simple and for the sake of this video, I'm going to either take TP or stop loss for each trade I take. So looking at the monthly chart, we are clearly on a downtrend of this pair. Price is coming from taking the sell side liquidity and making a lower low. You can see at the last structural point on the monthly chart was this lower low, and the last structural point was this one, lower high. So after this lower low was created, we had, as you can see, a shift of market structure and break of market structure to the upside, and price continue going higher. So what do we see here now? So this up move here, you can see that this in time of up grabbed liquidity of the previous and old lows. As you can see here, each one of these lows contain liquidity. Price came into this area where smart money previously distributed and went lower. They redistributed here and continue going lower. So this in time of up is an order block on the monthly chart. But this is too high, maybe I will not notice this now. What I will annotate here is the monthly levels, The previous month high, which is this one. Oh, I don't have that one. Previous month high and the previous month low. So we know that on the monthly, there will be liquidity above this high and below this low. Previous month low. We can notice here on this structure that price broke to the upside, making a higher high here, and now price is coming back down into this level. And what do we have here? Where is price working around with these lows that we previously had here? Price is working around this down move, or especially this down move, which is the main order block that grab liquidity on the sell side. So price is now mitigating this order block over and over again. So this order block is where price is working around, and we have to notice that we did have a shift of market structure and a break of market structure, and price is returning to the origin of this break of market structure. So this can either be sell side liquidity or a potential buying setup from these levels right here. Currently on this lower structure, we are on a downtrend, making lower lows and lower high consistently. The previous month did create a lower low here, and now we are coming from this lower low that grabbed liquidity on the sell side. So we could potentially say that this was a stop hunt right here, actually, on the monthly chart, and price might or might not break to the upside and continue this uptrend on the bigger market structure that we have here, which is an uptrend. Okay, so let's go down to a weekly now. On the weekly chart, we can see that the previous week's highs and low will have liquidity as well, so we can annotate those: previous week high and previous week low. What else do we see here on the weekly chart? We can see that price is coming from this week that grabbed liquidity and now it's trying to push lower. So the institutional order flow here might be to take out these relatively equal lows because this buy side liquidity was already attacked. So we can say that this on the weekly was a stop hunt, maybe, and now price is seeking liquidity below the previous week low and even these two lows here potentially, which is sell side liquidity. So let's go to the daily now. On the daily chart, the last day that we are seeing here is this one, January the 4th. We can see that this day took out liquidity on the buy side by grabbing the liquidity of the previous day high, which was this one right here. And now it's trying to go lower and even closing below the previous day open, which is this one. So this looks bearish. This might be a potential shift for market structure, but we don't have a break yet. So we cannot call this a break to the downside yet. But we will see what happens next. Okay, so we can annotate here, this is the previous day low, and this one right here is the previous day high. Okay, so now let's go down to lower time frames. Let's see a 4-hour chart to see what's going on here. We can clearly see here on the 4-hour chart, we have these equal lows that are pretty clean to me, that these are equal lows. So I think price is very likely going to attack this low very soon, because we are coming from stop hunting with this entire move up, and now we are trying to go lower instead of trying to go higher. You can see that if this was bullish enough, then price should have respect this this accumulation area and try to push price higher. But in this case, we are accumulating or ranging around this level. So we can wait for a confirmation, a break of market structure on lower time frames in order to take a buy or a sell to the downside. But for now, we know that this might be attracting price because these are equal lows here. And of course, we have the previous day low, which is here. So now let's go to the 15-minute chart and see what price may or may not do here. So I will turn on this indicator which shows, if you know ICT, the ICT kill zones for London, Europe and ASEAN session. So let's see what happens. We just closed a day and let's see what price action is being created in the coming day. Okay, we see price is taking out these equal lows for now. So we know that this might be a break of market structure. But I'm going to take trades after London or while London is forming, because that usually gives a bias for the day. For now, what I see right now is that price is trying to head to these levels, but I don't see anything clear to take a trade yet. So let's continue advancing. Okay, price is trying to grab these levels. We can see how we generated now this little pullback, creating yet another equal low. So price is probably going to blow out these equal lows. This move down, taking out all this liquidity here. I would like to call this a stop hunt because I know that higher time frame price might go higher. So let's continue watching what happens during London. Clearly, the day started bearish during the ASEAN session, so there is a bearishness in the market. But we will see what happens next during London. Okay, we can see here in London, we have a tiny little range being created here. We have a stop hunt to the upside and then a break of market structure to the downside. The target of this break of market structure to the downside was these lows here, and now potentially this low here. So if price manages to get up to this level one more time, I will be looking for a potential selling setup. So let's go to the 5-minute chart. We can see here on London session we have this break of market structure, this stop hunt, and then we have a break of market structure here. After this break of market structure happened, price returned to the origin, touching these 3 candles here, which is the order block, and then continuing lower. So we know that the root of this move down is this move up, which is a stop hunt. So if anything, I would like to take part on a sell if price gets to this level. So let's continue watching and see what happens if it gets to a level first or not. Okay, it didn't retrace at all. Price is trying to push lower. Okay, what's happening here? Price came back down here and it grabbed some kind of liquidity here, probably. Yeah, we can see it barely hit this low, which is a liquidity purge, and now it's giving a move to the upside. Let's see. Well, I see that we have these voids. This was a stop hand right here. I don't like how close this low was to this one right here, but I like how it went below it just by 2 or 3 pips, which sometimes is enough to grab some liquidity and then bounce to the upside. So if price managed to get to these levels, you can see a price broke through several market structure here. We have this break of market structure and this break of market structure right here. I would love to take part of a buying opportunity once price reach this level right here. So let's see. Around this level, we can see we have a void from this week here to this week. 50% of this entire void, at least the one we see on the 5-minute chart, is here. So price might not get to my entry. The important thing here is that we have this breaker as well that wasn't mitigated, so price might come back down and mitigate this breaker. Sometimes what I like to do is measure the breaker, 50% of that breaker, and take my entry at the 50% of these 2 levels, the 50% of the void and the 50% of the breaker. 50% of these 50% is where sometimes I like to take my trade from. This is a pretty big stop loss, but remember that we are attacking the sell side liquidity. So if this works, we might get to the buy side liquidity inside of this entire range. And what do we see here? We have this imbalance here, or this tiny void that price might want to go to, and of course this all high here, which is today's high, by the way, where price might go to. High of the day, which is this one. So let's see if we got an entry here or not. Okay, we can see price is reacting off of our previous level. It hasn't been touched yet, but because we are coming from grabbing sell side liquidity, I wouldn't be necessarily looking for sales here. It might work, but we know that the sell side liquidity was attacked, and now price might go to the buy side liquidity. So let's see what happens. Okay, you can see that this order block wasn't respected, and now price is pushing higher. Let's see if we have a retracement down here or not. We'll fast forward. Okay, we are approaching our level, and we didn't get in yet. Let's see if we can get that entry or not. Okay, we got in, as you can see here. Let's see if this trade goes north or south. This is already maximum 0.6 RR. I like how price generated this relatively equal highs here, but I don't like how this happened after grabbing an old high, which was this one. So if anything, price might come back up here and fill this void that was left open. You can see that this price action was all efficient, and the only void we have is this one. So price could easily touch this level and then continue lower. It's very possible. So let's see what happens. And I got stopped. That's okay. First trade got stopped. That's okay. The big reason why this didn't help is the fact that we had this low here that with this one creates relatively equal lows, but we need to risk it for the biscuit. That's okay, the first loss. Let's see what happens next. So we know that below this low there are going to be a stop hand, which might be this one. Let's wait for market structure to develop if we have anything clear. I would like to see a reversal to the upside very soon. You can see out here we have a stop hand. So now I would love to see a break on market structure if price wants to go above this high here. Okay, we did another stop hand here, nothing clear yet. Now we have equal lows. In terms of liquidity, this was the yesterday low and this is the yesterday high. So we know that liquidity is going to be there, and the weekly liquidity is being taken by this current move because this was a weekly level. Also, we need to take into consideration that we have this massive gap here that might be filled with the coming move. So let's see what happens. If I want to sell to fill that gap that we had there, I would love to do that from here, which is the last stop hand. So let's see what happens. Price is filling that void. It's marked that void, so we know exactly where it is. All this massive void here. Sorry, not void, this massive gap. From here to here, more or less. So let's see if we have any kind of bullish reaction once that void is completely filled. As you can see, it's being filled right now. Let me go back to the 4-hour chart very quickly to see what do we have here. We have the previous month low here, and we have this order block where price might bounce off, because this order block was created by this massive stop hand, and now price is returning to the origin. So we might have bullish order flow once price hits this order block. So again, let's go back to the 15-minute chart. Let's continue watching. I want to see a clear shift for market structure and break on market structure. You can see that here we had a shift for market structure and then a break on market structure here. Price came back to origin and did another leg up. The problem is that as we are bearish, I want to see a clear break of several structures, not only this one, which is lower time frame, but also this one, for example, which is probably seen in the 1-hour chart. If we go and check the 1-hour chart, we can see that the last lower high was this one. Now we are creating this one as well on the 1 hour. So let's continue looking at the lower time frames. Okay, here we can see we have a tiny little stop hand, and now price is pushing higher. I would love to see if these structures are broken with this move or not. Nothing yet. Price came back lower again. We can add some kind of Wyckoff here. We have a selling climax, automatic rally, secondary test, secondary test here as well, potential spring, potentially grabbing the liquidity below these relatively equal lows. Let's continue watching. We are seeing price pushing higher. Okay, now this is the displacement I like to see. We can see we have a clean break on market structure here and here. So now this might be the indication of a reversal to the upside to go after buy side liquidity, and you can see that this is happening inside of the 4-hour order block that we saw earlier. So let's go down to the 5-minute chart and see what do we have here. You can see we have all this void that was left behind, and we have one impulsive leg up. So I would love to see if price comes back near these levels and take a trade off of these levels right here. We have this void, this entire move down, which would be potentially the last point of support. go up to a 50-minute chart. This is the order block. This entire move down is the order block. So let's see, we have a retracement. Okay, we can see here price is moving higher without retracing much. I would like to trade a trade if price comes back down here. So let's move forward quickly. Okay, price is coming back down. So we can go, ideally I will go to lower time frames such as the 1 minute chart and wait for price to hit this level and do the same pattern that I explained, either this one or this one, and take a trade with higher R. But for this scenario, let's just take a trade based on this order block with a stop loss a little bit below it, just 1 pip. And the target can be buy side liquidity on this range, which is this high here that was just created, and each one of these all highs that we know are going to contain a lot of buy side liquidity. Price is coming from grabbing weekly sell side liquidity, so now we can expect the daily buy side liquidity to be attacked, and that daily buy side liquidity will be at all its highs. So we are -1 RR so far on this backtesting. So let's see if we manage to get this trade running. Okay, we got the entry. Okay, the entry was missed just by a little bit. Let's see the lower time frame. Okay, now we are in. Let's move forward quickly. So the TP for this, if we are on the change of structure, TP should be up here, which is 11 RRs. But let's do it right here. As you can see, we have this entire move up that happened during this day, which is the order block. So around here, almost 50% of this entire move up has TP, which is 5.76 hours. Price is moving forward. But how many hours are we in right now? We are 2.83 so far, but I would love to see if we can hit this level right here. A way to secure this trade, or at least not lose so much if price comes back to stop loss, is by moving your stop loss to the structural point that will hold. As you can see, the last higher low was this one, but this higher low with this one create equal lows, so I wouldn't necessarily put my stop loss on this particular level. I would do so on this level. So if we get stopped, instead of losing -1, we lose -33 RRs. So let's see if we can get to TP or not. And we hit TP. Yeah, we hit TP perfectly. So now, now we are on this trade +6 RRs. So now we are +5 RR. Of course, you can see that I am very selective to what trade I take. You don't need to be so selective, but I like that way because, of course, you increase your win ratio. So far, it's 50% on this particular backtest. But if you are watching, let's say, I don't know, 6 or 8 pairs on any specific day, you will probably have, if you are very selective, you can choose one very good setup instead of trying to capture a few that might not work. If you made it till the end, thank you very much for watching. Destroy that like button and let me know in the comments if I should make a backtesting series.